Have you ever noticed that the calmer and more centered you are, the more people seem to, well, test you? It's a strange experience and it can be pretty frustrating. But it's not random. There's actually some fascinating psychology behind why emotionally grounded people get tested, and that's what we're going to unpack.
So that's the big question, right? Why is it that the people who are calm, who are self-regulated, often seem to face this kind of pressure? You'd think that being steady in a challenging situation would be a good thing, but sometimes it feels like it just invites a push. So what's really going on here?
And if this is sounding familiar, it's because this isn't just a one-off thing. It's a real, recognizable pattern in how we interact with each other. And understanding it doesn't require us to judge anyone. It just asks us to observe. To really get to the bottom of this, we need to shift our perspective a little. What feels like pressure isn't always about aggression or someone trying to be difficult. More often than not, it's a subconscious search for information.
There's a term for this in psychology, and it's called boundary testing. It's this almost instinctual process where one person kind of probes another person's limits, not to attack them, but simply to understand them. So when someone is testing you, what they're essentially asking is, where are the edges here? What gets a reaction? They're trying to build a mental map of who you are and how you operate.
And how you respond to this kind of probing is absolutely crucial. It really all comes down to the difference between reactivity and stability. Okay, let's break this down. A reactive person gives off immediate, really clear signals. A sharp tone of voice, a look of frustration. These reactions are like instant signposts that say, that's the limit. The person doing the testing gets the information they need, and the interaction is over. But a grounded person is different. Because your emotional state is self-contained, you don't really provide those clear signals. So to the other person, it's like they're getting no data back. And when there's no data, well, the search for it often continues.
This really says it all, doesn't it? One type of response gives a clear map. The other offers a blank one, which can, invite a little more exploration.
And this leads us to the absolute core insight of this whole thing. It's a shift in perspective that might just change how you see these interactions for good.
So the most important thing to remember is this. When you experience this testing, the main motivation usually isn't a lack of respect for you. It's really about the other person trying to measure their access to you. They're trying to gauge how much they can influence you. They're looking for your emotional triggers, wondering what it takes to get a reaction. And here's the beautiful paradox in all of this. The testing is often a direct response to your strength, your emotional consistency. Your very stability is what creates the ambiguity that others might unconsciously feel a need to solve.
All of this brings us to a final, simple principle that I think neatly clarifies this entire phenomenon. Stability invites questions before it earns trust. Your composure is a quiet strength, but to others, it can initially just seem like an unknown. And it's just part of our human nature to feel a little compelled to test the unknown.